Of course, Epstein. After years of speculation, investigations, and public outrage, the DOJ and the FBI now claim there's nothing more to see. No lists, no charges, no accountability, just more silence. Anna? WTF?
Oh, well, there's a lot, so buckle up. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a ride. I want to give everyone the full context of what's going on, beginning with the fact that Donald Trump campaigned on the notion that he would be releasing the Epstein files, the client list, basically everything that's been withheld from the American people. And unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. The Department of Justice, as you mentioned, and the FBI have basically closed the Epstein case, stating that he did kill himself in prison in 2019, that there is no client list, there's nothing to release. But honestly, that's not what we heard from Attorney General Pam Bondi. In fact, she was saying this during her interview with Jesse Waters on Fox News months ago. Take a look.
You said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay. Well, we'll
along
look for
with his
that.
co-defendant.
Absolutely. And he had help. That's for
He
sure.
sure did.
All right. So, I mean, she's very specific about what she's planning on releasing. This is in February. Literally the next day, she pulls this stunt with right-wing influencers. I want to show you a photo of what I'm talking about. This is one of the posts on X that shows, these are the right-wing influencers who were given these folders that were allegedly containing the Epstein files, the client list, all of the information that isn't public. But the influencers went through it and they're like, this is all stuff that we already had access to. This is already public. There's nothing new here. But Bondi continued to go on the record to acknowledge the existence of the very evidence she now claims doesn't exist. So here's yet another video of her saying the same stuff. Take a look.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
All right.
Not yet.
So she says that she's seen it. She has it on her desk. They just need to redact names. They want to protect people's identity, meaning the victims. But then there's yet another example. I mean, she's on the record so many times, ladies, saying that I'm going to release it. She was caught having dinner with a friend and someone was eavesdropping, overheard her talk about all of the information she has, how she's going through like thousands of documents. Let's go to yet another example, Nat.
And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel, is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay.
Now, look, we're giving Pam Bondi a lot of heat as the Attorney General. We should also note that FBI Director Dan Bongino was engaged in a lot of tough talk prior to actually having MAGA hold his feet to the fire on this issue. Let's go to Dan Bongino and what he said of this investigation. This is on Tim Pool's show, and he talks about how Epstein was an intelligence asset, which is important to this story. Take a look.
about a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but the short story, but not who they are. It says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. That he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So,
okay, so the huge conspiracy theory here is that Epstein was working for intelligence, Mossad and CIA, and that this child sex ring was really a blackmail operation in order to basically obtain blackmail on powerful elite individuals in the United States government and potentially elsewhere as well. Now, I want to go to this Mike Benz tweet real quick, because if you guys can remember, Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted in like the early aughts, right? And in 2008, he received a sweetheart deal in which he didn't even have to stay in prison. He was able to leave prison to go to work, allegedly. And when he was confronted about this, right, Alex Acosta, who was the prosecutor in this case, when he was confronted about that, he basically said, well, I was told to back off Epstein because he belonged to intelligence, essentially providing some evidence, I guess, or some detail to the conspiracy theory that's playing out right now. Now, look, we're going to go to Trump's response to all of the backlash, especially coming from MAGA in regard to the administration's unwillingness to release the documents and the information that Trump campaigned on. Before we get to Trump's response, though, what do you ladies think? I mean, do you think that there is a big cover-up here? Do you think that there's actually evidence to support the fact or the idea that Epstein was working for Mossad?
I'm really disturbed by Trump's response. His response to reporters, essentially, you're still on this?
Like, can we watch it, actually, so people know what you're talking about? Because I agree with you. The response was kind of ridiculous. Let's watch.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the native staff?
Yeah, sure.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, we are.
For years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time?
It makes my blood boil. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously something changed, because how could they say so brazenly and with so much confidence that information is coming? So what I want to understand between what Dan Bongino was saying, Kash Patel, what Trump campaigned on, what changed?
On it.
It was a mandate. It was a mandate from the American people.
Clinton was going to have trouble because he was associated with the secret island. There's a video of that in 2015.
So what changed? Like, that's what I'm thinking. And the only thing, and we talked about this before, and you're like, no, you're like, girl, you're being too overly optimistic. All I can hope and pray is that there's something that we don't understand with this. Maybe he's using this information against the deep state.
No way.
No way.
I'm not.
Listen, guys. Honestly, I don't know how else to interpret it without feeling so utterly blackpilled and disappointed by this administration. I'm literally, I feel sick to my stomach that he's trying to memory hold this the same freaking day that it comes out. all of the traumatic things that we collectively experience between trauma, rushing, all these things, memory hold. They're trying to do this to us the exact same day it's released. It makes me sick. Like, I'm having a visceral reaction.
Yeah,
even rewatching
I
that.
couldn't agree with you more. And it's not just Democrats who are upset. MAGA is upset. He literally ran on this. And you actually bring up a really interesting theory. Could the calculus be it's better to have leverage over oligarchs and important people in society than it is to satisfy the teeming masses who are demanding a client list?
That's what it appears to be.
Wait, I want to tell you guys this story. So Benny Johnson, along with other right-wing influencers, have been dogs with a bone about this, right? They've been talking about this for years now. So Benny came on my podcast and he was telling me let's say the history of Epstein. And I didn't fully pay attention at the time. I went back and I watched it, so follow this through with me. Ready? There's a guy named Donald Barr who works for the OSS, which is the predecessor to the modern CIA. This is during World War II. OSS becomes CIA. Now, Donald Barr ends up taking over one of the most prestigious schools in the country called the Dalton School, where he hires a completely unqualified 20-something-year-old named Jeffrey Epstein to teach math and physics, despite the fact that Epstein never even graduated college. Now, through the connections that Epstein makes at the Dalton School, he is referred by a parent to go work at Bear Stearns.
Right? Yep.
What? Okay, hold on. Okay, now, Donald Barr also introduces Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell,
Robert Maxwell's father, Giselle Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell.
Who has associations with?
Mossad.
Bingo.
Yep.
Now, there's no definite link, right? Because you're trying to find it. However, he was literally given a state funeral in Israel and eulogized by the president of Israel. And there are other potential rumors that there's like KGB with M16. Okay, now, this gets even grosser. Nat, I just sent you a Wikipedia link. Donald Barr wrote a book called Space Relations, and it is the grossest, most creepy book, and it has to do with the galaxies. It's a sci-fi book. The super rich in the galaxy, and they're trafficking young human beings.
Oh my God.
And they talk about, even in this, it's like, then they ruined this virginal 15-year-old redhead by raping her when she was about to be traded to the elite of the galaxy. The man wrote a book about sex trading human children to the galaxy's super rich. And then, last but not least, guess who is heading the Justice Department? You know this. Take it.
Bill Barr?
Bill Barr!
Bill Barr is the son of Donald Barr. Yeah, no, there's a lot of creepy.
It's bananas.
And
there's
it
so much
doesn't
creepy
even
stuff
end there.
going on.
Who visited Jeffrey Epstein the day before he died in prison?
Was it
Bill
Bill?
Barr. He was the last
Shut
person
up.
to visit. I kid you not.
He totally killed himself.
Evidently.
But to Anna's point, I think it could be he may not have been murdered, but he was allowed to kill himself. Do you understand? Like, maybe he died by his own hand, but he was allowed to do that. He was allowed to do that by the defunct cameras, by the extremely incompetent prison.
That's another thing. The video that they released. I mean, it's crazy because I feel like, you have Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, what they released, including a video that supposedly shows like no one can enter Jeffrey Epstein's cell. It was impossible for him to have been murdered. That video had a minute missing. It wasn't even Jeffrey Epstein's cell.
Right, it wasn't even outside the cell.
And it's like, first of all, you guys are real sloppy in your cover-up. What are you doing? Also, let's go back to Alex Acosta, who, by the way, in Trump's first term served as labor secretary for a brief period of time, and then he was out. But nonetheless, he was the prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein case. And according to ABC News, let's pull this up, Nat. It says Acosta's email inbox had a data gap covering several months. In conducting its review, the OPR indicated that it had access to more than 850,000 emails of the 5 prosecutors who were the subject of the review, as well as 6 additional witnesses. But in an appendix to the report, they revealed that there was an 11-month gap in Acosta's incoming emails that coincided with the time frame of the Epstein investigation and negotiations over the deal. After investigating the circumstances of the missing emails, which did not affect Acosta's sent mail, the OPR determined it was most likely a technological error that caused those convenient emails to disappear suddenly. No, this is a cover-up. It is. It's a cover-up. There are, in my opinion, okay, obviously we don't have the documents to prove it because the Trump administration is suppressing it from the American people. But it is my belief that there was a blackmail operation taking place. The blackmail operation specifically targeted elite politicians, but potentially judges, people in positions of power. And look, there are things that the United States government does on behalf of Israel that they would never, ever do on behalf of any other ally, ever, ever. And so the question is it just plain old corruption? Is it just legalized bribery in the form of like AIPAC lobbying for a foreign government? I think that plays a role for sure. But I think there's even more involved in this, right? The question is, why is Trump part of the cover-up?
I don't know if he's part of the cover-up or if it's like, this is intelligence. There's a whole operation you're about to blow.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, sit down. And I mean, guys, though, it's also, what happened with the drones over New Jersey? Like, it's all a nothing burger. All of these things, we're like, oh, we're finally gonna know. I don't know, did you run on it to get elected?
This one goes so much deeper than that, though, because this is decades, and this is so many victims, and not only the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. What really breaks my heart about this is that, like, sexual crimes are the hardest to get convictions on. 1/4 of the civil suits that were brought against Diddy's victims were all from minors. We're going to talk about the grooming gangs in a couple of weeks. Thousands of young girls who were abused. There's never any accountability for this stuff. And I think America really, genuinely believed, I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, we really believed that there would be justice this time, and it would be bigger than just the Epstein victims. It would be all of the people who've never had justice, who were waiting for someone to say, we actually care enough to do something about this. And my heart just breaks for those people, man.
Go ahead, Lindy.
Amy, you've been amazing on this, like on and off camera. Can I just say that Amy has been consistently so strong on this issue, and I love you for it. I love you for many reasons, but thank you. I also want to explore something that Anna said about Alex Acosta. Can we also place this in the bigger context of Florida? Who is active in Florida at the exact same time? Pam Bondi. She is culpable.
Lindy.
I mean, she obviously, I don't know what the heck happened, because what she was saying on Jesse Waters is night and day to what happened. She said she had a client list of 1,000 people.
They all said this,
What
though, right? Like,
happened?
Musk said there was a list. Bongino was like, Cash Patel's, we're going to get to the bottom. Like, Trump, as we mentioned, campaigned on it starting as early as 2015. But I think, like, I look at you and my heart breaks, because this is what happens when you get old. You just callous over and you're like, of course they didn't release this list.
I know. I'm right there with you.
I feel so ignorant.
Don't feel ignorant.
I really believed that something would happen.
No.
I really believe it. And that's why in my head, that's why I open with my statement. I'm holding on to something, like maybe Trump knows something
You
we
hold
don't.
their
Maybe
feet to the fire. That's what you do. You do segments
yeah.
like this. You call bullshit. You don't accept no for an answer.
But will it change anything? Is anything ever going to change?
I have never seen Patrick Bet David, PBD, upset at Trump the way that I saw him last night on Jesse Waters. He said this is an absolute failure on messaging, on substance. They should not have done this way. They should have gotten together in a room and, created a cohesive message, because they let down the American people.
Well, to be fair, you're actually bringing up an important point here.
Yeah, final thoughts on this one, team, before we move on.
Honestly, Trump has broken a lot of promises to his base. He has. This isn't the first time. And you'll have some in the base who speak out, they'll push back. There will be a little bit of backlash, but never to this extent. And I want to give those folks a lot of credit, and I hope they continue to hold his feet to the fire, because they were given a very specific promise. The individuals engaged in the backlash right now obviously care deeply about the issue. And look, Amy, to your point about being blackpilled, I think, at least I know Jillian and I, we've been there already, right?
And I'm like, that's so sweet that you actually thought
so early in my political career, guys.
Just as a human, I want to reclaim some of your optimism.
But the final thing I'll say is, like, the black pill is really when you wake up and realize we have a duopoly in this country, a two-party system. but really it's a uniparty, right? And I believe that there are people from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party on that client list. I have no doubt, which is why you have two parties that are essentially protecting this disgusting blackmail operation that we believe this to be, you know?
Don't we also, I'm sorry, I probably know I promised last thoughts, but don't we already have names? Prince Andrew, Bill Gates. Like,
well,
don't we already
the girl
Clinton on the plane a bunch of times?
What did you guys think of
that
Elon
died?
That died. Yeah, the girl who accused Prince Andrew.
Virginia.
And by the way, she got hit by
a bus.
And let's not forget the tweet that she sent out a year ago. She said, "I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. If they say that I'm suicidal, it's not true." And then
there are lives lost over this. There are lives destroyed over this, and the fact that there's no accountability, it really makes me sick.
We just keep talking. We keep exploring. We keep investigating. Thank you so much for watching Her Take. If you like the show, can you help us out by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification button, sharing, commenting, joining the conversation? It helps us out a ton with the algorithm. We appreciate you.